Hopefully this. I'm live, according to YouTube. Sweet. Right. This is my very first live stream from Alaska. Oh, wrong. My very first live stream from Canada. I'm in a new country. I've not announced this live stream, so apologies to anyone that's watching this later and you're obviously not ready and you're not in this. What's the time in the UK? Let's have a look. So time difference, London it's 9 p.m. So that's brilliant. New York it's 4 p.m. Los Angeles 1 p.m. So hopefully, hopefully I've got a few people. I can see there's a few people dripping in now. Crown Jewels. Yes, bro. 10 past 9. I'm guessing you're in England, obviously because of the Crown Jewels. Brilliant. This video, very little warning. It's really hard for me to predict when I'm going to have internet and if it's going to be good enough. Hopefully this connection's okay. Let me know in the comments if it's jittery or not. If it is, I'll cut it fairly short, but hopefully the connection's good enough. I just wanted to show you where I am in the world. I'm about to edit some videos today. Here where I am in Canada, it's 1 p.m. It's a bit choppy-ish. There's not much I can do about that, I'm afraid, mate. Is it worth me continuing? Looks sick. Is it worth continuing? That's I can always end it earlier if it's too choppy and unwatchable. Hopefully the internet will stay well. Yeah, I'm using some internet from like a gas station. Okay, yeah, man, I'll keep with it. So yeah, it's hard to know if the internet's going to be good or bad. Run with it. Boom. Decision made. Cheers, Crown Jewels. Appreciate that. Thanks, buddy. Audio sounds fine. The video's a bit pixely. Okay, right. I'll just run with it. As long as the audio's okay, you'll get the gist of what I've got to say. I'll try not to move around too much. So somebody's in the chat chilling with a reefer. Thinking about my bike. Moocher's coming. Cool. And the pixels probably help with that beard. I suppose, yeah, because you'll be used to seeing my Japanese, which is like 2 months ago, beard. So I've not had a shave for 2 months. The hair's coming back. At some point, it's going to go long. Right. Let me not tell you where I am. I am in Yukon, Canada, which is really exciting. I crossed the border yesterday. Let me show you a little bit of my surroundings. Got a bench here, which I'm connected to the internet in a little wood, which is nice. As you can see, this has become like where I just throw everything. Did some washing. This is how I wash my clothes. Hello, how's it going, Lynn? You're right. Nice to see you in there. So these are my clothes. Yeah, getting some laundry done for the first time in a week. The bike is hidden away here. This is where I slept last night. I was meant to pay $10 Canadian dollars to sleep here. But when I pulled up, there was a motorcyclist from South Africa. And he was like, all right, bro, I respect you. Here's $10. And he paid for me to stay here, which is wonderful. And I got a shower for the first time in about 6 days. So yeah, feeling pretty nice and fresh and clean. There's mosquitoes about, so if I'm like swatting, that'll be why. Yeah, the bike's all set up. Just obviously unplugged it. I've got some things on charge as well. Hopefully the internet will stay if I walk around. Oh, that's fully charged. That's how I charge my camera batteries. And I've got a power bank charging just here. This building is where I've got the Wi-Fi from. So yeah, that's if it's a bit choppy. If I go closer, it's not any better, I don't think, though. So I'm just going to stay over here, and hopefully it's okay. Right, let me show you a few things. So there's some exciting news I want to share with you before I go back and reflect on the last month. It's been a month in Alaska that I spent, which that's flown by. Lots of things have happened and gone on, but yeah, right. This here is my passport, slightly worn. This was fairly new before I started this trip as well. Doesn't leave my bag very often, so it's in okay shape. This here, let's have a look if you can see that. This is my Canadian stamp, and it says I can stay until January, is it the 15th of Jan, 2020. So I am allowed to stay in Canada for 6 months, which is brilliant. That gives me lots of options. I'll show you something else as well, which is quite exciting. And this might help me to show you what I'm doing and where I'm going. I'll come to the chat in a minute. But this here is my map of the Americas. Thank you, Katie, if you're watching this. So I stayed with a lovely family in the North Pole in Alaska. And let me get that a little bit better. There we go. Yeah, so Alaska, this little bit at the top, finished for me. I am now right up at the top in Yukon territory, which is a big old province in the northwest of Canada. It's pretty wild from what I've seen so far, just cycling into it yesterday. Crossing the border was a strange experience, which you'll all see a little bit more when I do make the videos finally. But the border controls, you get to the American customs. I tried to get an exit stamp in my passport, and they were like, no, sir, no exit stamps. So I was like, okay, nothing I can do if they just don't give them. The reason I wanted an exit stamp is when I do go back into the lower 48 states, having an exit stamp apparently makes it easier to get in. Well, I don't have one, so that's the case. But I do have a Canadian entry stamp, which means I'll be in Canada for the amount of time past the longest I can stay in the USA. So this is my USA stamp, which says September. But today, September the 10th, 2019. So that's the longest I could stay in the USA. If I go back before then, that'll be okay. That's still valid. If I go after them, I'll need a new stamp. Apparently, you can get that ESTA free visa stay, which is for 3 months, and you can get that twice with any 1 year period. I don't know if that's 1 calendar year or 1 12-month period. I don't know. But that should be enough. So yeah, few things I want to do in this video. I want to go into the chat and speak to you guys that have come here. That it's wonderful to be able to talk to you. That is definitely the highlight. But there's a few things I want to talk about, things that have happened, future plans, and basically what the next few weeks, months look like. So I'm going to go to the chat first. So yeah, I've been talking recently to a few people in here. So there we go. Menestra and Side, I think it's Edo was your name. We spoke on the email. Thank you for coming along, mate. Who we got here? Window Clean 100. You've got it made, buddy. You've got it made. Chris Gray, hi from York, North Yorkshire. Brilliant. Beverley lads, York's down the road. That's good to know that I'm somewhere in Yorkshire. There's me on a little screen or big screen, which is quite cool to know. Good to ride in the Yukon. So I've so far cycled about 20 kilometers. Let me tell you more about the border crossing into Yukon. So I'm going to draw it because this is what I do. I'm going to use this blank bit of paper. Okay. This here, this little line is Alaska. Let me do it in the middle. New page. This will be worth it. Worth the wait. Right. Big line down the middle. Hope you can see that. This here, Alaska. So what you do, you go on a road that cycles to here. The customs for Alaska is on the border. It's right there. So you're like, oh, cool. Get my exit stamp. American guy, pretty miserable. No exit stamp. Okay. You cross the border. The largest undefended, don't know the exact terminology, but the largest undefended border in the world is the Alaska, Yukon, Canada-America border. And you can see there's like a big line where the surveyors have cut through the trees and where the border exists. So this line that runs north to south on I think it's the 46th parallel, something like that. Anyway, you cross into Yukon, you're in Canada for about 20 miles before you get to a little office here. This is Canadian Border Control. So I spent 20 miles cycling in Canada with no stamp. You get to the Border Control. Really nice Canadian Border Control. They quiz me a fair bit. I think they do that with anyone that comes with no visa already. So it's very much, what's your purpose of stay? Do you have family in Canada? Are you going to work? How much money do you have? Do you have insurance? I got taken into a separate room for all these questions. And I asked for 6 months specifically for a reason I'll tell you in a minute. But yes, I wanted longer, so it gives me more option, more freedom. And also I wanted long enough so that I could stay out of the United States for a long enough period of time. So when I cross into the United States, lower 48, I've got a good amount of time when that and when that happens. So yeah, let me reflect back on Alaska. Before I do that, I'm going to go into the comments and just see where people are at. Okay, so Adrian, hi Adam, audio's fine, image is a bit cut, still ugly. Cheers, mate. Look happy in good shape. Cheers, yeah, feel good. The beard definitely helps to feel in better shape. Crown Jules, you're smashing it, bro. Love what you're doing. Gonna sit back and watch now. I really apologize for the image quality. It's the Wi-Fi. It's not the best, but it's good for me to have this opportunity just to engage with you guys. And just because I know there's about a 2-month period from videos I make that are more polished, edited, and then where I'm at. And there's things I want to tell you about, which I don't want to wait 2 months to tell you. So yeah, that's why I'm making this video. Ian King, not tempted to change the plan up now based on the stamps then. Right, let's get into that. Good question, Ian. I am tempted to change the plan. The plan is to get down to Argentina, but I've never said which way I'm going. It's always been open to visas, how long I get. A country which is big, like Canada, that's just given me 6 months to stay here for free. Didn't cost me anything. If you're British and you arrive at a land border, you don't pay anything. And there's loads of other countries, most European countries and a number of countries where that's the case. So I am planning to cycle with somebody else for a little bit. And that's not going to happen straight away. It's going to happen in September, and it's now July. So the plan is to cycle south. Not too sure exactly which way. There's a number of different roads. Let's go back to Canada map. I like this. So Alaska, Canada. There we go. This is Canada. Down at the bottom here, that's Vancouver. So V, Vancouver. I can go on the Alaska Highway, which kind of wiggles around here and goes that way. Or there's another road that goes this way, more remote. I'm probably going to take this one, the more remote road called the Cassiar Highway, as opposed to the Alaskan Highway. I think they're both good. I think it's one of them cases where both options are good. So yeah, cycling to Vancouver. So I'll be right on the US border there. And the plan is to meet another cycle tourist. Her name is Marielle. She's from Sweden. And she's a very good cyclist, particularly compared to me. She does bigger days than I do on average. I think we're talking like 100 to 160 kilometer days. She's just cycled around Australia, which I think was 16,000 kilometers, which is more than I've already done in the last year. She did that, I think, in 3 months. I want to get this right rather than peddling untruths. So she's on Instagram as the Biking Viking. Yeah, 16,000 kilometers around Australia. She's already cycled across the United States, just under 10,000 K, and through New Zealand for 5,600. So she's accomplished cycle tourist. Super cool. We've been chatting for a good month or so now. And yeah, really looking forward to just having some company and cycling with somebody else for a bit. So the plan is to meet her in Vancouver. I'm going to cycle with her at least to Calgary. And I'm going to see how it goes, how I feel from there. Through the Rockies, so the beautiful mountains, hopefully. But winter will be coming. The time for cold will be there. And I need to decide. She's cycling across Canada. I'll have the visa that will allow me to do it, but it just depends on what I want at that time. So I'm not going to make a decision today, but there is a little bit of me which is thinking, let's cycle across Canada, because I've got the opportunity to do that. And I know there's a lot of prairies, a lot of what some would consider boring land, but a bit of me likes that. The challenge of physically pushing yourself, similar to what I did in Alaska for a lot of it, the Dalton Highway. I say that, but that's hilly. A lot of this will be quite flat, straight roads. Sometimes it's quite nice to have a flat, straight road. even if it's for 1,000 miles. So yeah, that's something I've always wanted to do as well, is go to Quebec, having particularly the British Army military history. I'm really interested in that, going to Quebec and seeing the old sites of the battles, and where General Wolfe had his final days, which some of you will have no idea about. But as a guy that was in the Yorkshire Regiment, that's one of our big battle honours, is the Battle of Quebec. Also, it's Canadian Chris, who I made videos with. I made a video with in Cambodia. I met him in Thailand. He's now, I think, in Ottawa. So if I can see him, that'll be good. I've got another good mate that lives near Calgary that I'm hoping to meet. So there's a few reasons for me to go across Canada. So yeah, I might do it. But if I do, I'll be then on the East Coast, away from the beautiful northwest of the United States. And I'll then be cycling through the busy northwest, but there's still the lakes, there's the Appalachian mountain ranges. There's always things to see and do wherever you are in the States. It's just different, but it'll be winter. It'll be tough. So yeah, I say all that. I did, for the first time this week, have my first idea that maybe I'll go home for a week or two over Christmas. I'm not promising anything. I probably won't, but I did think I could leave my bike in Canada, fly home, see family for the first. It would have been about 16 months, 17 months by that point on the road, just to see everybody and then come back. So I don't know. That's an idea. Just in the first time I've thought that, to be honest. Yeah, just it's mosquitoes everywhere. Just killed one. So yeah, that's just something that came up the other day in my head, but not for any other reason other than, yes, I do obviously care a lot about my family and friends back home. And I think if I'm disconnected for so long, they might forget who I am. Hopefully this helps, making videos, and I chat to them quite a lot. Okay, let me go into the chat. So that's a little bit of future plans. I was going to go into that at the end, but I'm excited about all this. So I thought I'd just upload that up front. I'll go into the chat and then I'll go back into talking about Alaska and my thoughts there. Cool. So I might need to put my glasses on here, so I struggle to read. Crown Jewels watching from Salford. The northwest. That's good to see. Good to see people from the north of England. Kevin Tulak, welcome to Canada. Cheers, Kevin. Ian King, this is like the poor man's Bob Ross right now. Loving it. Is Bob Ross the artist? I think I'm right. He's not really big in the UK, but that's the most I know. Chris Gray, I want to do a motorcycle trip there, so I'll be watching out for your videos. Please let me know about camping, bears, etc. Let me show you about bears. So, bears are a concern, particularly in Canada, more than Alaska. I didn't see any bears in Alaska, which is a good thing in a way. Let me do this. I'll do it this way. Right, this is my bear spray. I've got my watch attached, but this is what I use if a bear was to be like a meter away and it's about to attack me. Okay. Oh, I can't get it back in his pocket. Yesterday, I was cycling along. I found the second can of bear spray just on the road. Someone, I think, has driven over it. I might test it out. Not here, but at some point would be good to have a test fire. Apparently you've got to aim low so it goes up. So yeah, well, I might just leave it, might keep it. You never know when you need two bear sprays. Dual wielding. Yeah, so bears. I've also got, is it in here? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's in here. This here is how I hang my food. I have a couple of carabiners. This bag, which actually was originally from my tent, I throw that with I put stones in there to launch the bag over like trees, shimmy it up a couple of knots, and I use that to hang my food. So yeah, that's something just for you guys to see. I've not shown that in any videos yet. Video progress. Let me just talk to you about how that's going. Right now, I have one video lined up, which my patrons have been able to see for 2 or 3 days. It's about how much this costs, this trip, and what I've spent so far and where my money goes. It's only 6 minutes long, so that'll be coming up in a few days. After my patrons have finished with it there, I'll put it onto YouTube in a few days' time. But if you like that type of content, just a bit more behind the scenes, which I think I do, and that's why I like making it, is because I think people like to see what's going on. So I won't go into that now because that video is going to come out shortly. But yeah, things like that. If you've got any questions, things I could make 5, 6, 7 minute videos about. Bears is a good one, like someone's just mentioned. Yeah, so camping, how I find camp spots. Something that is quite interesting when I'm going to reflect back on Alaska is how much does it cost to sleep in the United States, in America, particularly Alaska. Alaska's an expensive state, with it being quite isolated up in the north in comparison to the lower 48 states. A lot of the foods that are there are imported. There's a different tax structure in Alaska, so you don't pay tax on most things. Like you buy something, it's just the price is the price, which is good. I like that. As a Brit, it's good to see the price is the price. I never went to any restaurants where tipping was a thing. Just can't afford to do that. So it's all just convenience or big supermarket bought food. This big old red bag, which is a little bit empty at the moment. So this rucksack, I fill this with food, and I carry anything between 5 to 14 days of food at any one time in there. Talking, let me have a quick gander at what I can pull out just real quickly. I won't show you everything. A lot of pasta. This is what I live on at the moment. Pasta, noodles, rice, tin of tuna, stuff like that. Really simple foods that are cheap, easy to make. And yes, I'm cooking all my own food. I paid $18 over the last month to sleep. So that's hotels in Alaska. That was one night camping in Fairbanks. So let me break it down quickly, just off the top of my head without the numbers. I spent about 10 days hosted by people, which was all free, which was wonderful. Having a bed and being able to just make connections and friends with people, which is, don't appreciate that. You don't realize how much that is, like how much that means to me as well, to feel what it's like to be part of a family, even if it's for a few days. But yeah, particularly, actually both hosts I had in Anchorage and in Fairbanks were both amazing. And it's, yeah, super wonderful to have got to know those families. 10 days there. I paid for one night, so that's 11, and the rest camping. So that would be like, what, 19 or so days? So not actually a great deal, really. Yeah, so that's a good number there. 10 days of that or 9 days of that on the Dalton Highway. One night actually was spent driving up to the Dalton Highway. So that wasn't really camping. That was just not really sleeping, just being in a car all day. So yeah, I'm just gonna take a sip. So yeah, that's pretty much how I afford to not spend loads of money, because hotels here are like up to $200 a night from probably about $70, $80 a night. And I'm just as comfortable in my tent. The only thing is charging electricity. So having these hookups here, using cafes, charge everything, lasts me a week. Food was a little bit more expensive than I'm used to in other countries, but pasta, noodles, and so on, it's not that expensive. I probably spent about, when I went to Dalton Highway, I spent about $100 on food, and that lasted me 10 days. So $10 a day. And that was good food. So snack bars, trail mix. Yeah, fueling yourself well. Vegetables, carrots are good. Carrots last a long time. I've been buying more carrots after my last host gave me a bag of carrots for free. Now I've been buying them, throw them in my pot, boil away. So yeah, that's Alaska. It can be expensive, but it depends on how you travel. I thoroughly enjoyed my month in Alaska, and I can't wait to make the videos, albeit I'm really enjoying making my Japan videos, which is what I'm going to do after this, is edit Japan. My third Japan video, I believe I'm on next, which will be me going around Lake Biwa. So actually going over the islands, over the bridges to, what's the name of that bottom island? It's escaped my head. The bottom island in Japan. And then from there back onto the main island, around the big lake, then to Tokyo. So that's what I've got next. And then is Alaska. I have a feeling that my best video is definitely to come, for sure. It has to be, otherwise what's the point? But I think the Dalton Highway one is going to be good. Just looking at the raw footage, I know it looks good, and the story hopefully is good. It just depends on the work I do now to edit it. What was the bad points of Alaska? This is a good side. The bad side of Alaska, it can be expensive for sure. That can be a bad side if you aren't adjusted to that. I think another bad side is the smoke. That was really bad. There was a lot of forest fires out of anyone's control, or naturally caused fires, I think. But that was pretty horrendous, cycling through thick smoke. I had there's a map of the pollution index, and like China was at like 100, like this South China Sea was all at 100 on this index, 100 being harmful for your health. Alaska was at like 400. I think it was the worst in the world. That's cleared now. Blue skies with a little bit of rain. If it starts raining, I'm going to have to end this pretty quickly. Get all my electronics put away. But it looks blue skies at the moment, which you can't really see because it's a bit overexposed behind me. So yeah, that is really the biggest downside. I really enjoyed the remoteness. I think it's not for everybody. I am quite a sociable person, so whenever I get the chance to speak to people, I do. That worked fantastically in my favor without even meaning to when I met Brooke Whipple. Again, I've mentioned her in my last live video, but she really did a really good job in just interviewing me ad hocly and sending people my way, which I'll forever be grateful. And it's really nice to meet her. And I think actually the gold in that conversation, which you will never see, came in the hour or two we spent just talking afterwards, just soaking in things from her and me asking questions as opposed to being the way around, which was really good. Yeah, really nice to meet. And the people in Alaska have been super friendly, even if they are carrying guns on their hips into church and stuff like that. All super kind, super friendly. Different culturally, I imagine, to the rest of the United States. And I like that Alaskan way. It's pretty wild. And people are a little bit out there. I'm going to go back into the comments and see what people have been saying. Let me have a look. James Hunter. Have you ever thought about getting a sponsor over there to help with your spares for your bike and equipment? Yeah, it's a good point, James. A lot of cycle tourists I know with a similar following, support, some with less, some with more, for sure, have sponsorship. Sponsorship, I see, is a bit of a double-edged sword. Good point is obvious. You get free stuff. Rarely do you get money, but you can. I'm sure people will give money out there, but usually it'll be free stuff. Now, there is a big part of me that likes the freedom I've got of not having anyone giving me something other than my patrons. It's the only thing I feel really like I've built a community almost of people that want to support me and I offer them value. That's key. Like, it's not give me something for nothing. If somebody's sponsoring you, they want you to plug their stuff. If that stuff's a bit rubbish or a bit naff, you're going to have to plug it still. And you're kind of trapped into it. If I wanted to go home tomorrow, would I feel comfortable doing it? Sponsored by someone? Maybe not as much so. Patrons, again, would I feel comfortable going home? I think I absolutely would, because I've built, again, like I said, a community and still providing value. And if I needed to end the Patreon so I'm not on the journey, it's really simple to do. So yeah, I have thought about it, but at this moment in time, it just doesn't sit right unless there was like the right sponsor and it was the right arrangement. But I'm not seeking it actively at the moment. Okay. Are you going to drop down into BC, British Columbia, from Kevin? And yes, I will. Definitely, mate. Vancouver, I think, is in BC. And yeah, I'm going to be in British Columbia for a long time, going into the Rockies. I'm going to hopefully probably see, that's where I'm going to see bears, I imagine. And that is where the old counter assault will come in handy. Okay. I hope it doesn't. Anyway, I hope I don't need to use that. Just bears can stay away. Kevin, again, you want to come down through the Okanagan and cross at the Osoyoos-Ullaville border. Don't know any of that, so I'm going to have to Google that. But I'll keep that in mind. I might even write it down. Let me write that down. That's slightly boring for you. But if I don't write it down, Okanagan. I imagine that's the US-Canada border. Cool. Jim Arnold. Hello, Adam. Glad I caught your live stream. I started following your channel after seeing you on Brooks' channel. Thank you for coming along, buddy. That's really cool. Hi, Rob. And that's from my family back at home, which is really nice. Chris Gray, you should think about the Trans-American Trail. The thing is, with all these trails and paths, and there's so many options. There's no such thing as like, this is the best way. This is, if I think of America, we'll go back to the map. Here we go. Really. So we've got Canada at the top. America kind of shaped a little bit like this. Do you like that? Here, lots of mountains in this circle area. Beautiful coast. So I have option A, cycle down the coast. Not going to do that, albeit that would be the nicest for weather. Go through Oregon, Washington, California. It's well traveled. That's for another day. I think I'll do that in my 60s, is how I see it. I want to do that when I'm a bit more seeking a little bit more adventure at the moment. Mountains, that's definitely an option. Calgary, big C there. Calgary's about here. Come down through the Rockies, wiggle my way, maybe hit San Diego as my last town into Mexico. That's an option. We'll see. Other option is spending all that time wiggling my way through Canada. That'll put me on the East Coast, which then means I'll probably wiggle my way across the country in some way like that. I don't know. Loads of options, loads of different things to do. I love it. I love having all these different thoughts, but whichever way I choose, be it coast, mountains, cross, whichever one I choose, you're going to get a different feel of the United States. And for me, it's the landscapes and the people. Two big things that drive me. Canada, I'm going to, again, if I cycle across Canada, get a different feel for Canada. I'll see from Vancouver, Calgary, the Rockies, all the way to the French side and to Quebec, Labrador, Newfoundland, all these different areas which I've never been to. So either way, I don't see it as any negative. Whatever I do will be good. Cool. So there's just an insight into my thoughts. Trans-American Trail, not opposed to any ideas. Just at the moment, just haven't decided. From Lil Banchero, you can come down through the Natchez Trace in TNALAM MS. TN, I don't know what state that is. Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Missouri. Natchez Trace. Never heard of that. It's going in the notes. I like this. Cheers, guys. Natchez Chase. Again, like I've said just a few seconds ago, not opposed to any ideas. More ideas, the better. Sometimes it's that paradox of choice where the people I meet along the way define my route, as opposed to me being like, this is my route. I am going this way. That's not me. I changed my idea, my mind too much. Ian King, you should think about it to do it if you can. It'd be great for you to see your family. I'll buy you a beer. Oh, I think that's in relation to me going home. We'll see. I'm not committing to anything. It's just at the moment, a couple of weeks. I'm not opposed to that idea. I think it'd be a nice little, won't do any harm. Headed northeast to southwest. Cool. That's good to know. I like the idea for that that trail that you mentioned there, Lil Banchero, the Natchez Trace. Jainai Q. Chris Ayala says hi. Keep enjoying your adventure. Oh, nice to see you, Chris. We've connected through social media before. I don't think I'll be coming through where you guys live. Your guys you are in the northwest, you two. So I don't think I'm going to go that way at the moment. But don't hold me to that. Kevin Tulak. You'll be traveling through the north at a time to keep an eye out for moose as well. They can be a bit challenging during the mating season, which starts mid-August up north. I've seen a lot of moose so far. I saw 3 moose yesterday, which is pretty cool. Animals I've seen. Seen a fox right up in the Dalton Highway, muskox, that's right up in the north in the Arctic Circle. What else have I seen? Porcupine. Obviously no bears so far. Bald eagle, that was cool. That was my first day from Anchorage. So yeah, moose, caribou, I really want to see some, pardon me, I want to see some Dal sheep, big old sheep. I want to see them. That's like on my next like list of things to hopefully see. Okay. So Rob is asking, what city will I be in next? So the next actual big town of any real population, the place I'm in now is called Beaver Creek. This is the most western settlement in Canada, according to the sign as I came in. The most proper town will be Whitehorse, which is about 500 miles away, 400 miles away, something like that. So that'll take me a week or so to get there. Cassie, Abram, seen any bears yet? Not yet. Mark Burden. Hi, Mark. Nice to see you here again. What are you doing for water, Adam? Where are you getting it and how are you sterilizing it? Let me show you. Water storage solutions. These bottles I found on the side of the road. People just throw bottles on the floor, disgust me. So I pick them up. And smart water bottles are good for two reasons. One, they're pretty hard, sturdy materials. If you just use it single use and then just bin it, shame on you. We can't be friends until you change your ways. So in my bike, I have a little bag. My toothbrush and toothpaste lives in there, but hidden away at the bottom is this. This is a Sawyer Mini, not sponsored by Sawyer. This is absolutely just the only thing I've ever used to filter water. Really small. I then take water bottle. These nozzles are really good because they screw onto here. Other nozzles don't do that all the time, whereas Smart Water, a couple of other types of bottles do it as well. So yeah, again, not a plug for Smart Water. If you can find a street bottle, that's the best way. Because then you're recycling someone else's trash and turning it into water. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll fill this with stream water. Fast flowing stream, hopefully it's clear, and put that on there, and then you have two options. You can drink it like that, rather slow, or I squeeze it into another bottle. So I always have one bottle at least which is mucky. I fill all my other bottles. I have a Camelback which is around here somewhere. A Camelback is just like a hydration bladder with 3 liters in it. So yeah, there we go. There's how I'm doing my water. I learned the hard way. Having a couple of these is good because if one of these breaks, you need a spare to give yourself water. You don't want to have no bottles. So at least have 2. I do have 3. I've got a third little one, which is the same nozzle. So yeah, that's how I'm getting water. Let me get back to the comments. OSM Liram. This is a rather lovely comment. Love you, Adam. That's rather nice. Yeah, thank you. Robert Jacobs. Hi, Adam. Nice to see you, Robert. Yeah, seeing you liking a lot of my posts on Facebook and so on. Good to have you here, buddy. Squidball. Any plan of riding with Matt from Jayo Nation? Matt is in the United States at the moment, but I think he's going to return to Asia to continue his journey at some point. Yeah, we've definitely built a friendship over the last few months, for sure, since when did we first connect? I think it was right up when I was in China. So a long time ago now, we first connected. We don't have any immediate plans. He's got his itinerary and route, Australia, I think, from Indonesia, and I don't know exactly where from there. Can't remember off the top of my head, but our paths at the moment aren't crossing. But if it ever does, yeah, I think I'd have to work hard to keep up with him on that recumbent trike. He's fast on that. But I'd love to. I'm always up for meeting people I've met on the internet in real life because what's the point of having the internet if you don't get to meet people in real life? Robert Jacobs, just got home from work, cycle, just caught you live. We'll go back and watch the rest when you're done. Welcome to the Canada, brother. I'm near Toronto. You know what? I might be going around that area, Robert. So if we do, it'd be good to say hi and have a Tim Hortons, which I think I've not seen one yet, but that's the coffee shop in Canada. Maybe a little shot of maple syrup. I have seen maple syrup, Yukon homemade maple syrup, which is cool. Might buy some because my honey for my oatmeal's all run out. Cheers for coming and watching. Lanila Maxwell. I think the most important thing to consider for you is the weather. It will be getting colder by September up north, and there will be snow and cold for most of the US unless you're in Southern California. Really good point, that. Now, that is a very sensible, normal thing to say. And I'm saying that in summer in Alaska where it's fairly nice and warm. So I can be like, oh, it's okay. A bit of me, though, is a little bit weird. And you won't really know that till you really get to know me. And a bit of me wants to be, sorry, mosquito. A bit of me wants to be pushed. And the weather can push you. The weather can change an environment for the better sometimes. When it's snowy, I do want to cycle through the snow at some point. I was even tempted to stay in Canada and get up to the most northern point of Canada in winter and do that. Yeah, it's not for everyone. It's different type of touring. And it's, for me, it's to push myself mentally and physically. Mentally more than anything. Physically, I know I can do it. I believe. Yeah, I know I can cycle. Just keep going every day. It's mentally, can you push yourself? And I think that's what maybe I don't do it all that often. I think actually for the last year, since I set off cycling of the last nearly 15,000 K, where have I really pushed myself? I'm struggling to really tell you where I've really pushed myself. It's been fairly leisurely for me, relatively. Southeast, I think the hardest part I've had so far was Alaska, Dalton Highway, 10 days, 800 kilometers of remote gravel roads with just oil trucks coming past you occasionally at fast speed. So you have to get off the road, get back on the road. Yeah, so I'm looking to just do something a bit different to see what I'm made of. As part of why I want to travel the world is just to, by bike, is to, if it's comfortable, I'll probably quit because I'll just be bored. I need to push myself. So yeah, I do appreciate that comment because you are right. For most people, I fully agree with you. Think about the weather. Why make yourself miserable? But it's not about being miserable. It's them hard times I really enjoy afterwards. It's that type 2 fun where you look back and you're like, I'm made of something. It's not for everyone. Most people like just sitting at home on the couch and watching Netflix. And I sometimes go into that category. Crown Jewels. I use a sim filter, but doctored it a little. I added a carbon filter to it. Be interested to know why you did that. Does it need it? Is it better? Yeah, first time I've heard that that can be something you do. Mucky Bear. In Canada, we have recycle bins for plastic bottles and cans. Yeah, I think they do in Alaska as well, I presume. But people were just launching them just on their road. And actually, just buying it and recycling it, still bad. Don't do it. Drink tap water or buy a filter and filter tap water. I'm living on tap water and stream water. It's such a convenience. This is me being a bit preachy, but it annoys me when I'll ask people for water and they just give you bottles and I'm like, I'd rather not, but thank you. Yeah, it's still not good to recycle. That still has, as in, it's better than not recycling, for sure, but it's better just to not buy it and just use normal water. Linda Clark, hello, from a patron in Northern California. Nice to see you, Linda. Thank you for supporting me as a patron. You're making the journey possible, and hopefully you're enjoying the exclusive content. I've got a question and answer session at the moment, which I've asked people to send me any questions onto my Patreon. I'm going to make a video that's only those guys can watch. So if you would like a bit of that, that'll cost you $4, which is like £3 odd, which makes a massive difference to me, especially when there's a number of people supporting me. Over the last month, I spent about $118 on the whole month. So yeah, the Patreon helped me massively because I'll have repairs on some month where I have to pay $500. So it balances it out in the end, hopefully. And it means I can do this for longer and keep creating, which is amazing. Robert Jacobs, be careful. Some people, bottles are used for urine and people, long car trucks. Yeah, very good point. I would be impressed if somebody's, I would say, lagging, urinating in this. They've got a good. There's a lot of spillage happening. But you are right. I do see that. This one that I did pick up was definitely already had some water left in it. So it was someone. It was near a like a picnic area. Someone's just discarded it. But yeah, don't want to be drinking any of that mucky yellow stuff. Smoking Locust, a carbon filter, is a great addition, especially have a lot of tannins in water. Oh, again, this is going a little bit over my head. I don't know what tannins are, but I imagine they're not good for you. It depends on the water, I imagine, yeah. But yeah, I do believe this has some sort of carbon in it. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I think it just says here, absolute hollow fiber membrane water filter. So yeah. Lynn, Rob says, can't wait to see you and hear about your adventures when you're home. Yeah, it could be winter coming home. It might not be. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up because I know what I'm like. I'll get there and be like, no, keep going. I feel I've got a bit of momentum at the moment, and there is the cost of flights, which is a burden for sure, and it's not necessary. So it's like, is that worth it? It's hard to say, isn't it? Hard to put a price on it, but we'll see. Rad Bike Adventures. Oh, how's it going, guys? Nice to see you. Yes, tap water. We are huge proponents of that. Way less waste. Plus, most bottled water isn't regulated. Hi from New Zealand, by the way. So happy we caught your live stream. Yeah, we've been chatting the other day on Instagram. Really good to have you here in the live stream. I think there's a mosquito on my head. Yeah, I think it's really simple, to be honest. And what I've done is, and what a lot of other people like you guys are doing, is you're changing your lifestyle to be really simple. And America, where I've just left, Alaska, the word I would use to describe it is just bigger. Everything is bigger. Bigger RVs, bigger roads, bigger cars, bigger plates of food, bigger waistlines. Most people are pretty overweight. It's like, I don't see myself in any way, shape, or form being like the Adonis of fitness, but I felt pretty thin in Alaska, I'm being honest. Just looking out now, I just saw someone with a massive RV, just literally just went past there, and behind it, they're towing a car as well. And I'm like, all the gas they're using, the fuel, it's ridiculous. I'm not saying everyone needs to live on a bike, but it's the scale of things here blows my mind a little bit. And particularly when I'm going through Alaska and Canada, and I'm reading American put out publications which is talking about climate change, and it's talking about how the glaciers are physically reducing, and the scientists saying that this is happening because of humans. And this is American scientists saying this. It's not foreign propaganda. And then the United States and Venezuela, I think the only two countries that haven't agreed to this this agreement to reduce carbon emissions by a certain amount because of money. And it just makes me sad that I think in the future we're going to look back at our generations with as in future generations will look back at us with disgust for not doing more. I'm not saying drinking out of a water bottle is going to fix it. I think the problem's much higher, and it's at corporation level. Getting a bit deep here. It's not where I intended to go with this, but I'm becoming more and more aware of it as I live on a bike, and just realizing, is the way we live the best way for sustainability and just for looking after this place we live? It's beautiful. The world is beautiful. Let's not ruin it. Like, I'm about to tomorrow, probably I'll stay here another day. Maybe I'll see, cycle through Yukon, epic wilderness, but the climate changing, and it's just a bit miserable. It's sad. Let me go back through these comments. I've got a couple more here. Ralph has said, hello, everyone from Italy. Buongiorno. Cave Nerds from Tucson, Arizona. Nice to see you. And all is safe and well. Very well, buddy. All is good. Mountain Dweller. Birds everywhere. Yep. Linda, one of my patrons. I must boil the tap water, then cool it before drinking, as it's filled with chlorine. I won't allow my cat to drink it either. Add baking soda and Epsom salt to my bath. Yeah, bath. Yeah, I can't speak to people that said you could stay with me. Squidball. Yep, that's similar to that. Teeth. Hopefully I've not been drinking tannins. Cave Nerd, Subrook, Gladys. Cheers. Yeah, there we go. I mentioned it earlier. I don't know if you saw. I mentioned that a lot of you guys probably come from her, which is cool. I'm going to call it a day in a minute. It's getting up to an hour here. And yeah, I think I've probably said all that needs to be said. I'll read these last few comments and then I'm going to call it a day. Rad Bike Adventure. Yeah, everything is bigger thing in the US is real. And I know you guys are from Southern California. I think some serious reverse culture shock every time I come back, but hard to have perspective unless you leave and travel a bit. Yeah, it's true. The people that need to travel the most don't. That's kind of it. It's not me that needs to travel. It's everybody else that has these mindsets. La Grippe Mote. Hope I said that correct. Nice name. Oh, here we go. White people is to blame for the world destruction, and only through socialism can we fix things. Once whites give it up, okay, it's not something I'm going to get involved in here, but yeah, if that's your opinion, there we go. I'm going to leave anything racially motivated to one side. I don't think generalizing any group of people is a good thing. There we go. There's my points on this. To say X number of people are to blame for this, categorically don't agree with that. To just generalize people. I think generalizations of people is what leads to these type of attitudes, and that is just as bad as often the actions that take place. My thoughts. Brent Irvine, welcome to Canada, lads. Like that. Linda, I'd love an older van to live in, cook out of doors and travel a bit here in the US with other nomads. There's loads of people up here in Alaska in these RVs. I do like it when it's usually actually someone in an older one, beat up one, they'll pull up and be like, do you want a beer? That's happened a couple of times so far. So the people with the big fancy ones, I've never had them pull over and say hi. And their own world. Robert Jacobs, sounded like you were losing your mind on the voice blogs day 7 and 8. I do have a podcast if anyone's interested. If you search Bike Tour Diary in your podcast player, you can listen to me ramble about cycling the Dalton Highway. Might have been losing my mind a little bit. I haven't spoken to many people for 10 days. It's quite nice. Cave Nerd, be safe out there rooting for you. Cheers, buddy. Crown Jewels, thought you were looking a little tanned. Maybe. Someone else. Yeah, we'll leave that. I'm not going to talk about that. Right, I'm going to call it a day here. I think I've given you all I can give right now. Thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, people are going to bed in this UK. It's getting late. And what time is it here? It's 2 p.m. in Canada. So yeah, that's it. Safe riding. Thank you for joining me, Rad Bike Adventure. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Cave Nerd, Jacko, Smoking Locust. I'm just looking here. Squid Bull, Crown Jewels. You're the first guy in here. Linda, Brent. Yeah. If I can leave any messages, it would be just try to just think about what you're doing and not just throw water bottles on the side of the road. Let's not generalize groups of people, whatever they are. Just try and just treat everybody nicely. And let's just be nice to each other. Too many people are just not that nice sometimes. Not my experience personally. It's often on the internet. In real life, people are usually really friendly. And then they go behind a computer and they're like, brr, 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 brr. All right. I don't know. Thank you. That's farewell from Canada, from Yukon. Next live stream, I'll try to give you a little bit more warning. I'm terrible sometimes at planning my life. Don't know when I'll next have decent internet, but I'm going to get another Japan video made. And then maybe 1-2 more Japan videos. Then it's on to Alaska. Right. Thank you. Farewell. Au revoir. That's because I'm in France.